Hello, people of the world watching new vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to the all-new 2026 Honda Prelude. Today I'm going to get this 6th gen Prelude up in the air. We're going to nerd out the tech specs, see how it's constructed, and then go give it some road trip beans.
Don't stop.
First things first, you'll notice there is no visible exhaust tip because it is stealthily hidden, tucked away, downspouting behind the back bumper cover. And it belongs to a single stainless steel muffler manufactured by Spicier. There is, however, a blue stripe in the center of the rear diffuser that just makes me want to ask questions. It appears they selected hairy cardboard for the rear diffuser under paneling. Out back, the Prelude utilizes a all-steel in construction, multi-link rear suspension configuration. Rear knuckle assembly manufactured out of aluminum. That little robot barnacle is part of the standard adaptive dampers. Honda branded, although they are made in Slovakia, which leads me to believe perhaps socks had something to do with that. That's kind of neat how they made the lower spring bucket pivot right here. It's like an alligator mouth with the spring in the center. Ah, that right there is an exhaust hanger that is not being utilized. That means there's a potential for maybe a dual exhaust. Why else would you have that there? Because you can see it mirrors the one on the passenger side. Unlike past generations of Prelude, there is no available four-wheel steering. The rear anti-sway bar, which is mounted directly to the subframe, measures in at approximately 18 millimeter, right on the dot. Moving on forward, stainless steel continues on for the mid-pipe. The 2026 Honda Prelude, now in its 6th generation, chassis code BF1, weighs in at 3,261 pounds with a 63 to 37 front-rear weight distribution. Honda Senki resonator in the center. Can't really rev it, it's a hybrid. The brake and fuel lines are located under the vehicle, rather inside the vehicle like some Hondas of the past, in laser straight application of that seam sealer. Easy access to the jack pad points for putting this thing on a lift or jack stands. Now that orange robot spaghetti you see right here is going to the rear mounted lithium ion battery pack for the hybrid system. As far as the transmission is concerned, all Preludes come standard with the proprietary two-motor system hybrid transaxle featuring 2 electric motors. One is solely in charge of generating electricity in conjunction with the internal combustion engine, as well as it acts as a starter. The other one is a propulsion motor for driving the vehicle in all-electric mode or combined with the internal combustion engine via a high-speed lockup clutch, which also allows the internal combustion engine to take part in driving those front wheels. It features a 3.421 final drive ratio, and unlike other Honda hybrid models, the Prelude has the Shift S Plus feature, which allows robots to make you feel like you're actually changing gears via some paddle shifters. Ease of maintenance, considering this is transverse front wheel drive. You see it has an aluminum front subframe. It does have a little bit of a tunnel in the center, like they could run a drive shaft for all-wheel drive if they had wanted. I doubt that'll ever happen, but you can see the electric power assist rack and pinion steering right up to here with a variable ratio 11.3 to 1 or 2.1 turns lock to lock. Up front, it utilizes a dual access McPherson strut style front suspension configuration. I was not expecting that. Everything up front here is constructed out of aluminium. Up front again, you can see it is paired with a set of those adaptive coilover strut assembly front dampers. The front anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 26 millimeter in change diameter. Under engine paneling is plastic and metal. Honda uses a lot more upscale materials under the car than I was expecting for this thing. A little scoop right here to channel air for cooling, and right behind it you can see a bit of the flex pipe on the exhaust. It's got little quick access screws to remove this for oil changes. Under chin area is super thick gusseted plastic, like it's designed to take a solid hit by accident. And you got another one of those blue stripes to ask questions about. It is now time for the braking test. And behind me, ready, set, stop. Amazing. That was really good. A little bit of a shimmy under braking, much shorter than I was expecting stopping distance. But then again, it does have big brakes on it. Either way, that was good. That braking was just made possible thanks to a 4-piston monoblock Brembo caliper with a 350.5 millimeter or 13.8 inch two-piece front rotor. The wheels are a 19 by 8.5 inch alloy wrapped in a set of two 35, 40, 19-inch Continental Extreme Contact Sport Plus Plus tires. Ride height-wise, you're looking at a little less than a foam finger. Inner fender liner, plastic functional arrow on the side skirt. Got some bi-LED projector headlights with LED DRLs. You'll notice there are no active grille shutters behind the front bumper cover. Interesting. There's a small remote heat exchanger mounted directly in front of the AC condenser and radiator, perhaps power steering. The fingerprint 5000 door handles. The rear inner fender liners are constructed out of recycled wool pants, keep things quiet. Those little plastic lip protecting the edge of the bumper cover. Out back you go down to a single piston caliper, which are actually painted to match the front, surprisingly enough, and a 305mm or 12-inch rear rotor. Wheel and tire, same size as you have up front. In the name of science, it is now time to give it the beans. But first, bolstering assessment. Good. Seat's a little wider than I am, but excellent bolstering. This one is equipped with the white and dark blue leather interior, Prelude embroidered in the headrest, got some fake aluminum trim underneath, perforations in the shape of some kind of 80s video game character. The seats are heated with a physical button. The seats have manual controls, which I'm more of a fan of because it helps keep weight down in this car. As far as drive modes go, I have a little flipper that says drive mode, and go from comfort to grand touring to sport or individual, where in individual you can configure a lot actually. Powertrain, steering, adaptive suspension, engine sound, ACC, and your gauges. Just above the drive modes you have the S Plus button, which you can press and enable the simulated shifting, where you have some plastic flappy paddles in the back of the steering wheel that move when you turn the wheel. I'm not going to use the S Plus because I don't want it to simulate fake shifts, because that's not the fastest way to accelerate. Everything else is spiced up. All right, give this thing a little launch and let it eat. Ready? Go. All right, not much hesitation and no fake shifts. All right, that's already good. That's quicker than I thought. It's not, you don't get a surge of torque, but that is quicker than I thought it would be. Hood pop. Well, it's actually a pretty light hood. No hood struts, but it's pretty light. Underneath the head of the 2026 Honda Prelude is the K20C9, which is a 2-liter dual overhead cam naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that produces on its own 141 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 134 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. Now, that is combined with the permanent magnet synchronous electric motor in the 2-motor hybrid system transaxle propelling the vehicle that on its own produces 181 horsepower from 5,000 to 6,000 RPM and 232 pound-feet of torque from 0 to 2,000 RPM. Combining the two together gives you a total system output for the vehicle of 200 horsepower and about 232 pound-feet of torque. Does the foam cover come off? Yes, it does. It's essentially the same power plant as you have in the new Civic Sport Hybrid. Intake manifold is in the rear, which is plastic. Looking down the accessory drive side of the engine, you'll notice it does have an electric AC compressor as well as a water pump, which is right there. 0W20 robot water. It's got a little snorkel vent right here to ram air down into this air intake silencer, located right above the inverter for the hybrid system. Snap that back on. Digging a little bit deeper on this 1993cc four-banger, it is massively undersquared at 81 by 93.7 millimeter bore and stroke with a 13.9 to 1 compression ratio operating on an Atkinson cycle. Moving up to the cylinder head, it has dual VTC, variable timing control, both intake and exhaust cam, or IVTEC, and this is a direct fuel-injected engine only and timing chain driven. Separate coolant expansion chamber over here for the hybrid system. That's cute. It's got a cold weather blanket on the battery. Keep it bundled up. Washer fluid reservoir is located inside the fender. As crazy as it may sound with this seeming fairly high-tech being a hybrid system and all, ease of maintenance actually does not look bad. It's fairly simple and old school in the internal combustion engine department, and the transaxle itself is actually simplistic in how that operates in its internal pieces. So, not bad. I will say this drivetrain, this transmission, even though it's not a manual that everyone wants, when you're driving this thing, you're just focusing on the road. You're not really paying much attention to anything else. So it lets you, you're able to enjoy this car. It doesn't, yes, having the ability to row your own gears would be fun, but it doesn't ruin this thing. Man, the chassis in this car is phenomenal. This thing with the Type R drivetrain in it would be better than the Civic Type R. That's probably why they didn't offer it with the Civic Type R drivetrain. Downshift. Downshift. That's pretty quick reaction time. Like I touch the paddle and it downshifts. Floor it, shift, that's quick. The shifts are the instant you touch the paddle. Man, lots of bite too on the turn in. I know on paper an MX-5 or a GR86 would seem like the obvious choice because they're rear wheel drive and manual, but this is fun still. I don't know, if you're a huge Honda fan, I don't feel like you'd be disappointed driving this car. What makes a difference with this car is using it for what it's intended for and driving it on the right road. If you're just driving on boring highways and city traffic, you might be underwhelmed by the straight line performance. But on something like this, it's a chef kiss. I could have filmed a pristine empty hatch, but that's not realistic. This has got a bunch of crap shoved in it, so it's actually being put to use. You can fold the seats forward and you could probably put some mountain bikes back here. With all that crap removed, you can see there's a little strap. You lift up on it and this accordions to reveal some shapes and a front license plate bracket if you want to ruin your front bumper and put holes in it. There's a ton of space back here. This does not have 4 doors, thankfully. Unsnap the snapper doodle, grab the lever doodle. Oh, there's one right here. I didn't have to do all that. Oh geez, do I fit? The back seat is not designed for someone that's 6 foot tall. Got a tiny little hump right there for a headrest or some part of your body. There's a little black plastic shelf thingy right here. There's actually an airbag in the back shoulder area of the rear seat. I got decent leg room, I just don't have a lot of headroom. There's a vent right there, which I believe is for the hybrid battery. Some speakers back here in the rear seat. There's a little window that you can look out of if you want to contort your neck in a way that it might not be operable again after. As far as the interior goes, it definitely looks and feels Honda in here. But I love the fact that it's not like a disposable appliance when it comes to the infotainment controls and the overall controls of the whole vehicle. It's full of physical buttons everywhere, no touch capacitive crap. Similar style vents you see in other Honda products. Does it click? It does. Padding is minimal, it's not super squishy. 2 cup holders inside here. A tiny little compartment where you could put a half-eaten bag of chips. I like how they use the same seat material all the way wrapped around by the controls in the center console. That's fancy. Wireless charge cubby, dual USB-Cs, and an old school cigarette lighter style outlet. Some metal pedal covers, but it does not include the dead pedal. A sunglass holder, which got a little glossy strip. Is actually one of the nicer sunglass holders I've seen in a new car. That's pretty sturdy feeling. Headliner is black and there's no giant hole cut out in the roof to keep the center of gravity lower. The gauge cluster is full digital and customizable. You can view your power flow data for the hybrid system in the center, as well as various data from your mind control device, which has wireless fruit and robot compatibility. The infotainment system screen is appropriately sized for the dash. They give you some physical buttons as well as a knob for your volume. The menu is pretty much moronic proof. I mean, it's pretty simple to navigate this thing. You have a power flow area. Actually responds pretty quickly too when you touch things. That's what's up. You can actually calibrate your own tire pressure sensors if you do like aftermarket wheels rather than having the dealer have to do it. Oh, sick, you can customize how you want your door handles to function. Lighting. As far as the stereo goes, the Bose sound system is doing an excellent job in here. Plenty of bass. It comes in low in your back, in the back of the seats. I love that. Super crisp, clear highs in here too. Actually a really good job for a Bose stereo. We've been sitting in this car since about 8 o'clock this morning, driving from near San Diego. The amount of time we spent in this, I've been this uncomfortable sitting in a car for 40 minutes. So I would say this is a comfortable car to do a road trip in. Fuel economy, considering we're giving it the beans on the back roads, that's decent. My overall thought from putting this many miles on the car and driving it, you could argue that there is better performance vehicles for the money. That's fair, but I would say that this car is different from a lot of cars it competes against, and it's unique in its own way, and that's what I like about it. It's not just trying to be a rinse repeat version of something else out there on the market. I would like it to have an option for traditional manual with 3 pedals, but that's not the case. I don't think it ruins the car at all. I think this car got more of a bad rap from people before it came out than it deserved. And when you see it in person, I can see why it's a little over 40 grand, because it does not feel like a cheap car on the inside. It's really nice on the inside. The fact that they don't offer very many colors for it, kind of a letdown. Also, something that I would have liked to have seen in this is all-wheel steering like we had on past generations of Preludes. I think that would have really set this thing apart and made it even more special and different. Do I think it needs it? No. This thing handles phenomenal. Better than the past generations of Prelude. The only thing I would say a past generation has an edge on it is weight. Obviously, because older cars weighed less because they didn't have to be as safe. The tech features in here, the safety age when driving, nothing has been irritating or annoying. It just does its job kind of there in the background. Nothing is over intrusive, kind of like in some of the Subaru systems. The beeping and buzzing, lane keep assist is just overbearing and annoying. It's not bad in this. So as a road trip machine, a front wheel drive Grand Tourer, what the original Prelude was, they've checked off all the boxes with this car. I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to. It is now time to give the new Prelude some scores, starting with the bean score, the assessment of feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans, and earns a rating of. Next is the cookie score, the assessment of value, and where this Prelude is equipped in the low 40s, it gets a rating of. Next is the toaster score, the negative assessment of how much of a disposable appliance a vehicle is, and the new Prelude gets a rating of. Next is the wrench score, assessment of ease of maintenance, and it gets a rating of. Followed by the squid score, assessment of handling, and the new Prelude earned a rating of. It handles better than that did. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the new Prelude gets a rating of. This right here is a good example of how bad news gets views. When the car first debuted and the specs were released online, everyone was talking about how it's over 40 grand, it's gonna have slow 0 to 60, no manual, it's a hybrid only, it's gonna suck. And I believed it too. I didn't think it was gonna be that good. And then I flew out there, saw it in person, it was better looking and smaller than I thought it would be, and then spent 450 plus miles driving it on mountain windy roads through the desert and road tripping it. And I recommend every one of you watching this, don't ever write something off without first experiencing it yourself, because you shouldn't always believe shit you hear and see on the internet. I know this is a car review that you're watching on the internet, but yeah, solid car right here and thoroughly enjoyed reviewing this thing. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you soon with another. Bye. This video is sponsored by me, my very own car detailing product company, RoboBubble, made in USA. And if you'd like to use what I use to keep my cars clean and also support this channel, this is how you can on my website, sarahandtune.com. Thanks.